and that's sort of what my process is going to be. It's all we keep a log of all calls that come in since I took office 5 years ago. So I know the areas that people got the complaints from, and a lot of the complaints really in a lot of the subdivision roads and just normal roadside roads going from one point to point A to point B. Mostly, I'm gonna say probably 85% of the calls have been on dead end roads, where when you live on that road, you know how fast you can drive on it. But when a visitor's coming to you, a nut like me and the way I drive, I may run 45 or 50 miles an hour to get to that point when it doesn't need to be that way.
And you may have 5 people that live on that road, but you only know, I mean, there might be one that drives crazy and flies up and down through there and spins their tires.
He won't change his mind.
No.
No.
And we all know, and saying this, and
But they
30
get
mile
caught.
hours is not going to slow him down.
I won't ask the sheriff and his bunch to say anything, but it doesn't really matter what the signage is on any roads. No one's going to adhere to the signage, but at least you do have something. So if they need to do something or write a ticket, they do have that jurisdiction with a sign being on that road.
Yeah, it gives them something more to go by on the complaint.
It helps the sheriff's department if they need to do something, I think, more than it does.
And Nakia knows exactly the road I'm talking about.
Mr. Yaki.
Oh, I totally agree with this. And Scotty and I have met with Mark many times because we have so many complaints in area because of the walkers and if a road is not marked, is it true that it is 55?
I'm going to look at, by state law, if it is not posted, it's automatically 55 miles an hour.
So I think they all need to be posted.
Yes, and that's what my plan is. All the roads will be posted. So, but we'll start with the high. So, yeah, by state law, if it's not posted, it's any road's 55 miles an hour.
I make a motion that we send it to the commission.
Second. Any other questions? Okay. All right. We're still.
Mm-hmm.
We're lowering speed limit automatically on all this road.
Mm-hmm.
They would need a little bit of time to get with that. What's your
Well, I really don't have a lockdown plan because until y'all pass it as commissioners, that's part. But me and Mr. Carney back here, John, he always puts all my stuff out, so it'll be put out on social media and the newspaper and things like that. That's the only way I know to contact everyone.
They should see it on the road.
We can't go door to door, knock on doors, or go to area and stuff. So it'll be put out on social media like everything else in the county does.
Okay. Any other question? We got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
All right, thank y'all.
Okay. Okay, we've got one or two other things I delayed doing. I'm going to ask Commissioner Hooker, and this is not, it's on other business. It was, and it's just give us a short update on homeless task force. I've served on that committee, and I know we're not having anything to do with it, but I was wondering if that was still going on.
Yeah. So of course, as you remember, we sunsetted that group back in the summer, but there is a wonderful group that's continuing to work with the homeless population. And so I will kind of speak to them. And that's individuals like Kay Bartley, Toby Sneed, Leticia Diaz, Jeff Rasnick, and as we know, with this cold weather, that is a big portion of what sheltering options. I know they're working with EMA on a lot of things back and forth. I know the Shelbyville Police Department is doing a lot of, going around and checking on these individuals and helping kind of bring them to and from the shelters. But there's continuing active work with a lot of different individuals throughout the community that I don't want to take credit for any of that. These guys are the ones that are doing the legwork. That are doing some just phenomenal work, and really, in all reality, it's God's work that's out there to take care of these individuals, making sure they're fed, making sure that they're put into a warm shelter. And so, again, I want to give all the credit to them. They're continuing to work hard, and there's always a need. There's always time for if anybody was willing to volunteer and assist with that. I can definitely tie those with Kay and John and the rest of them that are doing just some magnificent work out there. And so, again, still have continued to push. So
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Okay, Mark Thomas.
Little bit. If you'll go back and check your emails, I sent out an email that Fairhaven Baptist Church sent out for some requests of some things they needed, but they are open, and it's if the temperature is below. David helped me because we were in a meeting with them, and they're opening during the cold times from certain hours.
They are.
I'm sorry.
The church is going to be open. They were open last night. They started yesterday, 24 hours. They're open today, 24 hours, and until the weather warms. Our communications has the telephone number, so if somebody should call, see somebody needs to call. I think Toby Sneed, as he was saying, was communicating in transportation to get people out there. So that's where we're running right now. Now, after that, I think it may be day to day. So you need to watch. They put that on Facebook, and we'll try to get it on ours as we get additional information. But I just wanted to add that
Okay, thank
for
you.
that.
Yeah, I knew with the extremely cold weather that there's people that could be at risk. Thank y'all. I thank you for the update. I'm glad churches in another month we decided to put off. We had the standing committees were to be reappointed. There was no request to change, so they remained the same. But we did have quite a bit of input and discussion. I have off and on even last year, and some of the people I talked to had interaction with CTAST and also TC as conflict of interest stuff that we did with the rules. But anyhow, I wanted to go over some of the concerns of the commissioners. I didn't last month, but we'll do it as quickly as we can here. They were some questions about, even coming from Charlie Curtis when we were doing the rules, about commissioners, two of them placing side of the standing committees. I think really in the end, he didn't much like the two commissioners being able to place proposals on the county agenda. And then other people thought, well, sometimes things get delayed and by circumstances they need to be done that month. But that's what I think in the end, nearly all of these complaints lands on. There's just no discussion and debate, and we're not following the legislative processes that I think our county and our government set up to do. Now, the biggest complaint, and it still is the resolution 2416. It was that, like a better, we'll say an omnibus. We had certainly Liberty School project that needed to be passed that was way past due. But then they linked in a juvenile facility, which did not go through courthouse and property properly, I don't think. And then the surplus facility, and then the ag center. Now, this is just, and then the surplus facility, and then the ag center. Now, this is just my complaints. I'm not going to get either side. I'm glad we didn't have to do anything or try to do anything. But I do have another proposal from Mr. Curtis that I'm fixing to discuss in a minute. The other thing was the budget books and timeliness of being able to get input and going through the budget process. Some people like to have it a little sooner than the end of May, because then you just have, a couple of weeks, and then a couple more weeks, we pass the budget at the end of June every year. But that was some discussion, but it's hard to do. I know it's hard to get that finalized. And then some discussion about transparency with Duckson electric plant and that Project Cardinal and being kept in the dark with matters and this and that, and how, there was still a lot of concerns about even now with safety sounds or chemicals or whatever they're dealing with out there. But that was some concerns, and this goes over some periods of time. But it did. I got sort of, I don't know, I was a little disappointed with some of that process and procedures, the way that was done. I don't like being kept in secret. Project Cardinal was, I don't know if I'd be for that anymore. And then some, again, a lot of commissioners are checking on salaries. They're concerned about salaries and salary caps with some of the people in our government. And then there was, as always, there's some discussion about the Tennessee Open Meetings Act and maybe situations where that's not being adhered to. but that's where much of that comes from. And, we've had some other matters as well, but it certainly needs to be, the rules need to be followed, or not. I think it depends on, what they are. I think some are not appropriate, and some certainly are circumventing, I think, the standing committees that they're intended to go through. So resolutions, when they're used, unfortunately, it does limit, and I don't think that's the way we need to legislate. Again, there was here and there were some complaints about the finance committee were out with their proposals. I know it's legal, but that's not the point. It's just not going through the proper processes and through the correct standing committees. So I guess most of those complaints are concerning just resolutions. So we need to take a close look at resolutions. I think limit them as much as we can, and certainly we don't need to pack, those things in. In fact, that brought probably more public outcry than anything we've had. I believe we had 5 or 6 public people get up at our commission meeting to express concerns about packaging all of those proposals into one resolution. So the proposal was, and I'd had this for a while, but this is it, and I'll be glad to give it to you. I got this from Charlie Curtis. He sent it to me last year, but I'll go and turn it over. It's quite a bit. Basically, it explains exactly what the finance department should be doing, and originally it's certainly to really absolutely watch Robert Daniel, who's the financial director, and to make sure he's doing right with the superintendent of schools, with the highway department, and other fee offices. That's our main responsibility with that committee, is to watch the finance director. And then it goes on to some of the other, because I asked him once or twice, he said, don't y'all have a special committee down there? He said, no, that those 7 are taking care of it. He said, who on a commission would let the county mayor and the superintendent of schools and the highway department decide your budget? That's a pretty good question that Charlie fielded to me. And all of us as commissioners, all of us need to think about this. And then I'm going to read the rest of this. And he said, he was one that recommended this. He said, Tennessee Code Annotated is 5-21-105, special committees, general provisions. A, the county legislative body may authorize the committee to assume the functions of any or all of the following special committees or the county legislative committee. Outside of the finance department, a budget committee, just for the budget. 2, an investment committee to watch, I guess, Robert Daniel and the rest of that department, investment committee. And then 3, a purchasing committee. Now, I don't recommend any of the second or third one, but I do think we need to look and consider, discuss, and debate, and we got the time to do it before, April. We got 2 other months to go. And here it goes. B, upon creation, the special committee shall be composed of 5 members appointed by the county legislative body. The members of such committee need not be members of the county legislative body. Well, I propose that they need to be, because we have a little more, but don't have to be. That's what the statute says, according to this. It says the director of finance shall be the ex officio secretary of each of every one of these smaller committees that if we decide to form. He is the ex officio secretary of each committee. And the last thing, I'm not going to go into the last 2, but the last thing concerning the budget committee, shall establish and approve policies, forms and documents, procedures, and regulations necessary for the preparation of the annual operating and capital improvement budgets. So that's all they do. This is a special committee that I assume will go into gear about April and May and June to have input, and it'd be us. It'd be the commission that decides that budget, because we approve it. It's ours. It doesn't have anything to do with those other elected officials, the county mayor, the superintendent of schools, or the highway department. It involves us. it is a county commission budget. It's not, the other three, he said, have no reason to vote on our budget or to form it. And that's exactly what he said. We need to bring him in here. I'll be, but I do. It's open now. If anybody wants a copy of this, you can look it up online. But I think it needs to be discussed, debated, and I think it will help solve some other complaints in the committee and the rules committee and even law enforcement, where they felt like that the omnibus bill I've already referred to overstepped their authority. Now, there's other examples. I'm not going to get into those. There's 3 or 4 more examples where some of these commissioners think that that the proposals didn't go through the right standing committees. But we can discuss that. You can, anybody. We'll leave it open. It'll be an open thing, and we'll discuss it next month and go further. And happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I think it certainly needs to be considered. You certainly need to look and read exactly what the financial management system was set up to do, and some of the things that I went over with him. I said, listen, they shouldn't be doing that. And if we need to bring him in here, and I don't want, not calling anybody out, but he said it's not appropriate. Just not that the standing committees run the commission, nobody else. And now it's outside of other things, but it's the standing committees. I got one question for Commissioner Vick. He was not here last month, but I took a little exception to this Amendment 1 in the December meeting. That caught all of us by surprise, and I had a few questions I wanted to ask him about that amendment. Where did that come about, Commissioner Vick? Do you remember? This was proposed on December the 10th, and I think Commissioner Maddox had some questions about it, because they were, and Commissioner Hooker as well, thought that we had perfectly good right to present anything coming from several of the other committees. But could you tell the committee here, because Mr. Vick proposed that when I don't believe anybody else knew anything about it. Did anybody else on this committee know anything about it before the proposal came up?
I don't even know what it is.
I don't either. I don't know what you're talking about. Do you have a copy of it to show me?
Yeah.
I slept since last month.
This is minutes from the December by Commissioner Greg Vick. The amendment was read by the clerk and accepted by Yaki and Pinson. Maddox asked Vick to explain the reason behind the amendment. Vick said the preamble to the bylaws states that nothing herein is intended to be in conflict with the state law and statute of the state of Tennessee, which is very true. And he goes on. In the event of conflict, policy or statute of the state of Tennessee certainly shall prevail, and it always has. That's not news to any of us. We are aware of the law. Vick then said that Tennessee is a Dillon Road state. Dillon Road state, it may be, but I think that mainly involves municipalities. I don't know, and state legislatures. I don't think it involves state legislatures with county commissions. It's an archaic one. It's been around for 100 and something years, maybe 200 years. But anyhow, I don't. One or two commissioners was a little caught by the side, myself included, about the Dillon Road. And then he says, then Vic said, TCA 54-10-3003 says that the county legislative body classifies roads. What? Sure they do. We haven't said anything other than that. I don't know what the objection there is, because they've always presented the road list to us. That's where it's always been. We're not approving anything. We're just placing it on the agenda. And then it goes on, and then Commissioner Hooker said that historically the road list has come before the Rules and Legislative Committee, and it's been placed on the commission agenda, and it has been. I think there was a comment, it wasn't in the minutes, that, well, we could be sued by the Comptroller General. Do you recall who told you that, Commissioner Vick?
I think you're incorrect in two of those things. First, we are a Dillon Rule state. The county commission is a ward of the state. We can have no powers other than what have been directly given to us.
Absolutely, but the
It
deal rule
applies-
basically was intended for municipal government.
No, well, it may have been,
Well,
but it's now
absolutely.
interpreted and through
and
court,
to the state.
and we report directly to the state. Now, I would say to you, Commissioner Farrer, that the amendment came on the floor. It was debated and discussed, and the votes favored the amendment, voted no.
And I passed because
You
of it.
passed, so that's a no vote. So you didn't have enough votes to persuade people that your decision was correct. So I don't know how to explain that other than your position wasn't clear enough to explain it otherwise.
Okay. Well, I understand the processes, and I understand what happened.
Obviously you don't, or you wouldn't be
well,
asking me to explain how you couldn't come up with a pass vote.
Well, the prior meeting that we had, Commissioner Vick, we passed it as is, and you made a motion and seconded. And now we come into a meeting.
Right to amend? If you didn't like it, vote no. You didn't even vote no. You voted pass. So why are we complaining about
because I can.
it? Okay.
And it needs to
You're
be
welcome
considered. I have.
All right.
And that's another reason why some of these rules need to be revisited and we need to follow them. Honestly, in my opinion, it should have been deferred. If you had an objection, you should defer the matter back to us. We should have discussed it here and put it on next month. That's, in my opinion, what should have happened. Again, I think somebody, one person or maybe others, circumvented this committee.
Are you
Now,
accusing me
you're-
of circumventing the committee?
Well, you didn't come back through it.
It didn't have to. It was an amendment on the
Okay,
floor.
I understand that.
It's your objection.
Okay,
You should have
well, okay.
voted no.
I'm doing it right now. I
Well, it's
did. I
too
passed.
late now.
I'm not saying it didn't need to be passed, but it does need to be
What
studied
are you
again.
saying?
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't make it. You're just going around in a circle.
Okay,
here.
well,
This is
good.
done.
Does anybody have any other questions? Any announcements? Ben Money, entertainer.
to order. If you would bow your heads for a word of prayer. Our most gracious and kind Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Father, we just ask your blessings be upon us during this cold weather that we're experiencing. Father, just be with each and every one out there for their heating needs and the needs in their homes. Father, we just ask that you protect them and watch over them. And Father, give us the spirit to reach out to those folks and help them in any way we can. Father, we just thank you for each and every day that you have blessed us with. And Father, we just ask that you go with us and lead us and guide us and correct us. And most of all, we thank you for your son, Jesus. In Christ's name I pray. The next would be the approval of the agenda, I guess.
Motion to approve.
Yep. Motion and second to approve the agenda as presented. All right, the next thing on the and then I'm looking at two different ones here.
We just,
I mixed them up. I'm not sure which one I got. So if I get off track, just
you
let me
got
know.
the public comment dropped off the one. That's why
Okay.
I'm just trying to make sure.
Okay. The next will be the approval of the December 17th, wait a minute. Yeah, Law Enforcement Committee.
That's
The motion, second, all in favor? Any public comments? Don't see any. If anybody likes to speak, you're always welcome to do so. First on reports will be animal control.
A couple of things to add. December, it was a tough month for us. We did end the month at 9.7% euthanasia, which is still under our 10%. That's a little high for us. However, we did end 2024 with a 5.9% total euthanasia rate. And I will have more numbers available next month. I'm trying to work on a new program and it's not coming together very well. And as far as shelter, if I can take a few minutes and let's talk about shelter in this cold weather, okay? Yes, sir.
Please do. I was going to suggest that you mention cold weather and how to protect the animals, not just dogs and cats, but there's a lot of farm animals.
Yes.
Please do.
So in July 1st of 2023, Tennessee passed new state laws on sheltering for animals. In summer months, they have to be have shade. Potable water is expected all the time. And then in certain winter months, they have to have either a straw or bedding type material that will not freeze. And when we talk about that, blankets, sheets, towels, they are not a good idea. What happens is they collect moisture, and then when you have temps, especially like today, they will freeze. The animal can freeze to them, or certain body parts of that animal can freeze to them, okay, causing damage. Potable water. They have got to have potable water at any time. And what that means is if you have animals outside, I have animals outside, there are heated water buckets available. There are, one lady even said, I haven't tried this yet, I thought about trying it, put salt in a water bottle, fill it, and it can help. But with temps going into these single digits and negatives, your best bet is going to be a heated water bucket, guys, if you have to house those animals. State law now requires shelter consists of 3 sides, a floor, and a roof. The dog has got to be able to go in, turn around comfortably, and lay down comfortably. And we are in that month, guys. The bedding is a huge issue right now, okay? Walmart, TSC, Tractor Supply, any of the feed stores have straw or that bedding, okay? Please do not use any kind of material. It will freeze, okay? Anita, do you know if do they still have available straw? Okay. Okay, so we did have some citizens donate straw, and the Bedford County Humane Association had 10 bales of those. I don't know how many they have left, but I encourage everybody to reach out if they need some. Okay. That is your best bet. Bring them in. No heated water buckets. Just bring them into some warmth. Wire crates, plastic crates, anything you can do when temperatures are this low and wind chills, in the negative.
Very good. And if they're going to use heaters, don't use extension cords to power them.
Right.
We've seen that twice in the last week.
Right. And be careful, and Mark, you might can touch on this. Heat lamps. You don't want them too close to the ground. They can catch fire. And make sure there's a guard on most all of heat lamps. Make sure that guard's up there. And it doesn't have to be like right near the animal's head. It can be fairly up high to provide some warmth off of that lamp.
Yes, and we also recommend that they put like a safety chain, piece of wire,
Yes.
so if the clamp turns it loose, something catches it, keep it from hitting the ground.
Yes.
Because they get hot and the metal will expand and get loose.
Okay. All right. Questions? Feel free to call my facility. We do have outlets that we can help the citizens with, things like that. Okay.
Any further questions for animal control?
I saw someone had an idea, they used a crock pot. They put it on, keep warm, and they put the water in it.
Crock pot. There you go. And honestly, if you can tuck that wire where they can't chew the wire, I really don't see on the warm setting, that would probably be a good idea. So. Oh, we've had several. Right now, the animals that have come into the shelter, I cannot get them spayed and neutered, and I can't do anything with them because they are a part of investigation before anything can be done, which have filled up quite a few kennels. New Destiny Dog Rescue, they did come in today. They have pulled some animals, so we are going to try to rotate some of them up. However, some of them are not so nice, and they cannot come up where they have to be handled every day like that. Oh, and one other thing, I would also encourage citizens, passerbys, if you see an animal and you pick that animal up, guys, you are taking responsibility for it, okay? With that being said, I understand nobody wants to see animals freeze. I do not want to see them freeze. But just keep in mind that you might be taking responsibility for that animal longer than you had planned to. Okay, guys? Setting your own traps to bring animals into facilities, never a good idea. So if you, by your own will, try to capture animals, please keep in mind you will probably take responsibility for longer than you bargained for.
Now, Sheriff, if you don't mind, we'd like to move you to the end since y'all got a presentation, if you're okay with that. Okay. EMA will be next. And we have your report enclosed.
I don't have anything to add to my paperwork. I'll touch on a couple of things. The weather, yes, tonight will be our last cold for a while. It's going to get a little bit warmer. So as the days go on, it's going to get a little bit warmer. Expect some rain this weekend, so that's good. Instead of saying snow, we say rain. They're really getting it done in Florida right now. Talked to a guy in Tallahassee this morning or this afternoon late, but it's sleeting there. Like we talked about already, about the Fairhaven has the shelter open. And like I said, we will keep additional information of that. Other than that, we're working with our schools. We're getting ready for a exercise in March. So we're working with our schools and our public safety folks. Also getting ready for that. That'll be a exercise that includes all of our public safety schools and then various avenues of that for both. So we're getting ready for that. The only other thing I have to mention is we have this thing, if you have not seen it on Facebook or heard somebody talk about it, Battle of Badges. It's a blood drive. It's going to be at Celebration at Cooper Steel Arena in the Hall of Fame room. It's going to be the 5th of February. If you see them Facebook and various places, there's a QR code that you can scan and sign up. They were encouraging people to sign up so we can know how many people we have. I do not know. I have not heard how many. We have several that's already signed up for that. So please, if you can, do that and sign up. And when you go in, you'll be asked who you're donating for. You get to pick the sheriff's department or whatever. They have like, what do you got, 80 something people that work with y'all? Just say EMA, we just have 3 people. So we know we can't win with some help. So yeah, I know it. So, and you can't give twice, so we can't double up. So, but yeah, please, if you haven't seen that, or look into it and join us out there February the 5th. That's all I have.
Any questions? Next will be juvenile detention, and we have the reporting closed.
Right.
Probation.
Yeah, he's here.
I don't have anything further to add to the report. Take questions.
Still active down here seeing clients.
Oh yes, we're still using the building.
Yeah, when I came by there last Friday, I mean, there was a line. They were running in and out there.
It's still actually increasing numbers. I think our biggest day now is 148,
It's good. Good use of the building.
and we started at around 30, 35.
Right. Yeah, and compliance is the name of the game, and this is really giving an opportunity to make sure that we're meeting these clients.
Yeah, we actually had a successful story. One of our homeless pushes the lady around in the wheelchair. He actually completed probation this time. Reporting there.
Good deal. Any other questions for probation? Sure.
They jumped in and handled a situation that could have gotten really out of hand. So, rescue did the job themselves. Their team jumped right in, figured it all out.
Thank you.
That just goes to show you how well your public safety and all your departments work together to accomplish a task. I mean, no one department can do it by themselves. It takes your whole, every department out there working together to accomplish things. And I'm proud of it. I know our mayor, the rest of the commissioners are too. Thank you. Okay, Sheriff, you're up. Sorry to move you to the back, but
Good evening to everyone. December is generally a little bit slower month. Obviously, you've got the holidays, in particular with the Drug Task Force, but the Bedford County Sheriff's Department in the month of December patrolled 81,253 miles, 290 investigations, 61 accidents, 45 transported that were in custody, 21 that weren't, 46 911 calls. So it was, I guess, about a little under average, but not too bad. Now, the Drug Task Force a little different. They had 4 investigations in the month of December. Your usual marijuana, methamphetamine, controlled prescription medication. The agency investigated 3 previously convicted felons, 1 previously convicted felon who was at that time currently out on supervised felony parole. Court didn't let up a whole lot. Our court officers searched and scanned in the month of December 4,332 people for 34 court sessions. There were 1,280 individual court cases. Our deputies that were in court security served 15 civil and criminal warrants, took into custody 16 people, and transported 76 inmates from court.
That's the sheriff's department report. Any questions?
Ronald Prince is here with the jail.
Alrighty. Our sheriff fees for this month, or for December, was $2,559.91. Comp fees were $148. Sex offenders was $300. The phone revenue was $15,226.58. Commissary was $3,549.24. We took in $48,500 in cash bonds. We also had 7 work crews go out with a total of 15 workers. For the month of December, it was $16,800.
Any questions for the jail?
Quick question. Just off the cuff. As far as those work crews go, I know that we've discussed it in the past. And I know just recently that it has to be a certain temperature before they can go out, and then too hot, too cold. What is the process? Just remind me of the process again of the work crews. I know that they partner with with Mr. Clanton as well as far as.
So Mr. Clanton, his group picks up some, I think it's like 6 workers, I think it is. And then the others pick up like 1 or 2. They just come up there, they get them, and then they take them wherever they need to do their business at.
Okay. So on most all days that the temperature is where it's supposed to be from a legal standpoint, I guess, do they, most every day, do we have folks that go out, inmates that go out?
Yeah, if their temperatures are up well, obviously we don't want anybody freezing or anything. But if the temperatures are up, then yes, sir, they'll go out.
And when they go out, majority of the time, are they just picking up trash on the side of the road?
Sometimes picking up trash. Sometimes we got some crews that clean buildings and stuff. We have a group that waters dogs at the city animal control. So I mean, it's a little bit of everything.
All right, thank you.
Is the Shelbyville Parks and Rec still bringing the crew out to the parks?
They used to, but they have. We had some issues with them.
Okay.
And so they kind of backed off on us.
Okay.
And Ronald, if I'm correct, these department heads that get them, they have to go through training every year, right, in order to receive those?
Yes, sir. Everybody has to go through a 4-hour training class every year, and then they get a certificate from us.
And is the leg monitoring still in place, or did that get rescinded?
It's still in place, yes, sir.
And our ag folks, I think Helen gets a crew on a regular basis that helps really maintain the entire grounds for all the activities they're doing. So
yes, sir.
That's good. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, Nakia?
So the last about year or so, we've been investigating flock cameras, and I know some of you know what that is and some of you don't. If you've ever heard of LPR cameras or license plate reading cameras, that's essentially what we're talking about. We're always looking at whatever, new technology may help us do our job a little better, be a little more efficient but they may be for specific purposes. But every now and then something does come along that I think will really, be a game changer for us. The flock cameras, I think the enhancement that it will give to our department and to safety, I think is well worth the money. And I brought Will Pepper here today. He works for Flock Safety. I wanted him to come here and kind of show you what this product is, what it does, and also what it don't do, and just kind of, I think he can answer questions a lot better than I can. We just started a trial period with this, so we do have some free access. Now, obviously, we don't have any cameras or anything like that, but Flock has given us some access to just try to look through it. But I'm going to let him go through his presentation. We have benefited in Bedford County from Flock cameras in the past, and I'll talk a little bit about that when he gets to the point that he wants me to talk about it, and just show you what we've run across and how it's helped us without us even having Flock cameras. But I'll let Will, I'm going to turn it over to him, let him go through this presentation because he can explain this way better than I can, and then I'll answer any questions that I can.
I appreciate y'all taking time to hear me. Like Chief Elliott said, been working with them for a while, really learned a lot about Bedford County, already working with Shelbyville PD. They are using our cameras and just got started. So anyway, really excited, grown fond of Bedford County. So I'm excited to continue to work. And again, thank you for your time. So just kind of going through. So to introduce myself, my name's Will Pepper and I'm with Flock Safety and I'm the territory manager for pretty much all of Tennessee, about 2/3 of it, a little over that. And so I work with law enforcement and that's, anyway, the agencies, police department, sheriff's offices that I work with. All right. So, to be respectful of time, I just wanted to go through this briefly, but, just a quick agenda is wanted to give a brief overview of Flock Safety. So just to familiarize you, with what Flock is. Second of all, Better Flock Safety comes in and provides its solution. Next is Flock Safety Solve Stories. So I'll go through some that have affected just our community in general, have affected me. I live on the west side of Nashville. And then also some, that Chief Deputy Elliott mentioned that have happened here, in Bedford County and in Shelbyville. And then finally, I just wanted to open it up, and then do a custom strategy for Bedford County. So we'll show you what the game plan is and strategy we've come up with. And then finally, just Q&A and just kind of talk about next steps. All right. So first of all, Flock's goal and our mission is to eliminate crime, shape a safer future together. It's that simple. A little bit about Flock Safety is we are an Atlanta-based company. So that's where we started. We have a little over 900 plus employees. We are a full suite public safety platform. So we have everything from license plate readers to gunshot detection to surveillance and recorded cameras. You can kind of pick and choose what you want, but it also is a platform that you can continue to grow with to increase visibility. We work with 3,800 plus law enforcement partners. And this is a stat I'm really proud of. I'm waiting for 2024's numbers to come out, but 10% of the reported crimes in the U.S. were solved using Flock Safety's products. And we are the nation's largest network of ALPRs, and it's growing by about 1,000 every single week, but we are about to hit the 90,000 mark, so we have 90,000 cameras nationwide. So working with Bedford County, learning more about challenges that they face, where we can come in and help out. There's really three main ones that come that really kind of came to the top, and that was drug trafficking. There's obviously a fentanyl epidemic that's going on in our country. And so, what's coming into our county? Where is it going? Who is it going to? Being able to get insight into that to where the naked eye may just look like a regular car traveling through. We don't have visibility to that. And so that's a challenge that the sheriff's office is facing. The second one is the ability to quickly locate silver alerts, amber alerts, any kind of endangered citizens here in the county. So that's another area where we want to have quick access. We want to be alerted when they're going through. We also want to know where they're traveling. So that way we can bring home, any loved ones if we don't know their whereabouts. And then thirdly is we want to quickly solve burglary cases and then prevent future theft. That's another thing that's hitting Bedford County is they're seeing a lot of burglary cases. Some of them are really hard to go off of. Maybe there's just a vehicle description. There's no license plate number or tag that's seen, but being able to, help recover stolen assets or home burglaries and just get help in those areas. So these are the main challenges that we're facing today. So Flock Safety solution is twofold. and that's being proactive approach and having an investigative approach. What I mean by those is with proactive approach, these are vehicles, wanted persons, any people who have warrants out, amber alerts, silver alerts, hot list, which if they're not on a list yet, but we need to quickly find someone, they can do that, and anything on the NCIC that enters Bedford County. And then the investigative part is maybe it's somebody who hasn't committed a crime yet, but it does take place. Well, we got to have leads to go off of using a vehicle. So having this tool to be able to investigate, have immediate leads to go off of is a critical piece that the sheriff's office really is wanting to get help with. And that way they can run better investigations and solve more crimes. So with that, as clearance rates increase, crime rates decrease. And so what they'll see is a pattern that every flock customer in Flock City and Flock County sees, which is we start nailing down any people that shouldn't be here or people with bad intent. And then they become a deterrent. So people know that, hey, Shelbyville has flock cameras. Bedford County has flock cameras. If you're going there for bad reasons, probably don't do it. It's a pretty bad idea. You're probably going to get caught. So the way that we do this is our suite right here. I mentioned these earlier, but we have the Falcon, which is our license plate reader. We have the Raven, which is gunshot detection. Condor, which is the PTZ, so pan, tilt, zoom, live and recorded video camera. And then Wing, which this is pretty amazing too, but this is just integrating any pre-existing camera system into Flock Safety's platform. So as businesses or churches or communities want to get on board, they can, if they choose to, have their camera system integrate straight to the Flock platform to give visibility to the sheriff's office. So the one that we're going to focus on today is just the Falcon, and that's the license plate reader. So this is where Flock is different than any other LPR system out there. There are multiple brands. I always tell you, do your due diligence, research them, but this is where we're going to differ from the others. We have what we call our vehicle fingerprint technology. So with this is where it doesn't matter if they don't have a license plate. There's license plate readers, which just read the tag. But what happens if you have no tag? What if there's a partial tag? What if it's a fake tag? You're just SOL at that point, and you just don't have anything to run on. So with us, though, we do search off of vehicle identity. So as far as like vehicle make, trailers, and then we can do partial tags, missing tags, and temp tags as well. So with Flock Safety, and this number has increased actually a good bit since, but we have 10 billion plate reads per month. That's across all of our cameras throughout the nation. So like I mentioned, we're the nation's largest network. And then I want to touch on the flywheel portion of it. So what I mean by that is with Flock, you're also not just getting the license plate reading cameras, but you're also getting 3 segments that are working hard for your community. I work with law enforcement alone. We have another rep that works with HOA, so your neighborhoods, your apartment complexes, and then we have ones that work with and just increasing once again visibility, creating a safer community for you. And just to touch on these to give real life examples of ones around Bedford County. So agencies that are using Flock around or in Bedford County are Shelbyville PD, Manchester PD, Coffee County Sheriff's Office, Murfreesboro PD, Lincoln County Sheriff's Office, Pulaski PD, McMinnville PD, Spring Hill PD, Williamson County Sheriff's Office. I promise I won't read any more after that, but it's 3,500 cameras across the state. So with the flywheel as well, we have a national agreement with Lowe's Home Improvement. So currently there's already 3 cameras. If you want to go by Lowe's, you see a black pole and you see a camera, that's what those are. So you gain access to those as well. So the city has access to those, or the police department rather, in Bedford County Sheriff's Office would get access to those as well. I'd like to touch on this just to get ahead of it, but we are huge on protecting privacy at Flock. If we weren't, I promise you I would not be here. What we do and what I mean by this is footage is owned by the agency and the city and will never be shared or sold by Flock. So we have a 30-day retention policy. Somebody asked me about this earlier, but the state policy is 90 days. We do 30 days because if it's not attached to a crime, it shouldn't matter. It's going to get washed out. The other thing is short retention period ensures that all data that is not associated with the crime is automatically deleted and unrecoverable. And then this is going to take the human bias out of crime solving as well, because this is detecting objective data and detecting events that are objectively illegal, like stolen vehicles, as an example. Other thing is all data is stored and securely put in the AWS government cloud. We have to have a search reason, and an audit trail is provided for every single search that's done. So you can't just search for the sake of searching. You have to put a specific reason tied to a case, tied to an event that happened, like, Walmart robbery, something like that. And then we also do not use facial recognition software. We're not ever going to do traffic enforcement. I can truly say I've spoken with our CEO about this. What I mean by this is those tag readers that go by and will pick up speed limits. We're never going to do that. He said the PR on that would be awful. We're never going to be doing that as part of our cameras. So that's something that will not happen with Flock. We also have end-to-end encryption of all data. No personally identifiable information is contained in Flock, and we're not connected to any registration data or third-party databases such as Carfax or the DMV. That is not true for other LPR providers, though. And then the other thing, lastly, is we have a transparency portal. And to segue over to that, as you can see, this is an example of one. And not every agency takes advantage of this, but this is something we do offer. So it's customizable for each agency. We can display your technology policies on there, publish usage metrics, and also share downloadable search audits. So I mentioned you have to have a search reason for everything. We can publish those search audits as well. The other thing too is, to the county commission, you want to see, well, not just Flock's a great tool, but what's the ROI on this? Well, we can actually, through our edit outcomes button, record every single event. So if there's an apprehension, if there's a stolen vehicle recovered, stolen assets recovered, drugs, guns, that's all recordable right in that certain case. And then you can go to the Insights tab, print that out, and show exactly what it has done. And it's shown some incredible stats with other agencies I worked with that have been absolutely mind-blowing. So that can be recorded to show what you're getting for your return on investment. And then just some examples here. I think I have Morgan Hill PD and Vallejo PD is some customers of ours who have this transparency. So wanted to touch on this story really quickly. Who you're seeing up here is a mother and her child. That is baby Mateo. This was the first ever Amber Alert or Amber Alert case that Flock solved. And it's a very proud moment in our company, as you can imagine. So I want to show the power of this, and being the father of two little girls, this means a heck of a lot to me. And what happened in this case is Chamblee is a city just right on the outer edge of Atlanta. And this mother was walking her child in a stroller and around the apartment complex. And next thing she knows, people hop out of a car, snatch a child, and they're gone. They had absolutely nothing to run off of except for a grainy video from the apartment complex that was a side shot of the vehicle. So what happened was Chamblee's police department had Flock, thank God, still do. And they took this video and they went through Flock and they searched the vehicle, which happened to be this red Acura SUV with a back rack or a top rack. So with that, they ended up whittling it down, found one vehicle that fit the exact picture that they had, and they ended up finding a license plate number for it. So once they put it in Flock with a valid search reason that there was an Amber Alert, they found it had only hit between Chamblee, which is basically Atlanta, and Carrollton, Georgia. With that information, they then saw the heat map that saw it kept pinging around Carrollton, Georgia. So then that connected them with the Carrollton Police Department. They ran the tags. They got the registration, who the vehicle's registered to, ended up finding the residents. Went there. No one was there, so they surrounded the house. That vehicle, sure enough, pulled in. Long story short is they apprehended the suspects, found the baby safe. The baby had actually been dressed up as a little girl to try to hide the identity of the child. But within 5.5 hours, because of Flock, they had returned this baby back to its mother after the Amber Alert had been issued. So just a powerful story that you think, how can we protect our community? Flock can do this. And then I like to touch on this story because this is 1.2 miles from my house. I looked it up exactly. But I live on the west side of Nashville. It came through and nobody knew it. They ended up robbing an ATM repairman out at the Bank of America right in front of Publix on Charlotte Avenue. Guys took off, continued to work down west side of Nashville and going to Kingston Springs. Thank God Kingston Springs has alert. These guys are on NCIC. They knew they were out there, found the vehicle, ended up apprehending all three suspects, and these are actual pictures of the thousands of dollars of cash that they recovered. I'm extremely thankful that Kingston Springs has these cameras because they not only solved a case, but they also got these people off of our streets, and God knows who else is going up and down them right now, but these flock cameras ended up solving this case. Next, Chief Deputy Elliott alluded to this, but he has talked about some areas where flock, even not having it, has helped them solve crimes. So I just wanted to call him back up here and have him kind of tell the stories.
Nikhil, before you tell a story on that, hypothetically, if a vehicle is reported stolen to you right now, what's the process and how does all of your deputies find out about it?
How do they find out about it being stolen?
Yes.
Well,
So
obviously
somebody has to take a report.
The owner would report it. Deputy would respond, gather the information. Hopefully they've got enough information that we don't have to go back and search because they don't know their tag number and they don't know their VIN number.
Exactly.
And, do that report, then get it entered into NCIC, and then hope that somebody runs that tag somewhere. But the difference would be in that situation, that would be with flock, we could enter it into this system. And you know what a BOLO is, be on the lookout for. We essentially send out a BOLO to every camera that flock has in the United States. And we don't have to worry about, just an officer being in the right place and recognizing that vehicle from Bedford County that they probably hadn't even heard of. That camera hits and sends us a notification, and we can instantly start tracking at that point. Then we can notify, those communities that have cameras, they're going to be notified. There's a stolen vehicle out of Bedford County that just came into your county, and they're going to respond from that point. I think when he was talking about the Amber Alert, 5 hours. That is a short amount of time from the time that child was taken to the time that it was recovered. When you start thinking about the call and the reporting and trying to get all the information so that you can get it and then getting it pushed out to everybody, that's extremely fast. And we've had in Bedford County, even though we don't have the flock system here, we've benefited from it by luck, honestly. The first time that we had a case here in Bedford County that I thought this is something that we need. We had an elderly lady with dementia that was reported to us to be missing. She had left home, no idea where she was going, although there were some indications that she could possibly be going out of state, but that's really all we knew. One of our detectives, Sergeant Brown, just started calling. And he got a hold of somebody in Kentucky, and they said, well, we've got flock cameras. Do you have a video? And we started, once they entered that information, we were able to track that. Had come back around, and we actually got our hands on her in East Tennessee. But that's not something that we would have been able to do without flock. And to be honest with you, that's a case where it was just luck because we certainly didn't have access to it. So, but that was one where, I really started seeing the benefits of this, because we think about things in aspects of solving crime, but these are so effective in just about everything that we do in protecting our community. And like he kind of already mentioned, involves vehicles and involves travel. What I really like about the cameras is Bedford County, and he's going to get to this, but if Bedford County's paying for, but this is like a net, anticipating we gain access to all those cameras. Unfortunately, things don't just happen in Bedford County and stay here. They leave, they go to other counties. With places like Lincoln County coming on board, Coffee County coming on board, Murfreesboro on board. Now, all of a sudden, we have a tool where our entire mid-state area is working together. But right now, the PD coming on board, like they've only got 2 right now, but they're in the process of getting their 12. That's going to be huge. But if Bedford County, if we can get this out in the county, all of a sudden, everywhere there's a camera, you close one of those gaps. We know that it passed this camera. Now, what's the next one? We know it passed this camera. So, we also had and I want to be careful. I say that we're currently our guys are working on a case that is dealing with child pornography. And because we've entered into a trial period, we don't have any cameras, but Flock has let us work with the system, so we're taking advantage of it everywhere we can. We have a suspect that we're tracking, just to see what. Now, I don't want to go too far into that case, but we're actively using it right now. However, that suspect's movement within Bedford County there's a big blind spot there for us. So, but we are actively using it. Everybody remembers the road rage incident, Normandy Road. When we got to that call, we were given a vehicle description by the victim. That was it. And Mark, you know this. When we go to a call, we'll have people tell us what color the vehicle was. They'll tell us what kind of bumper sticker it had on us. And we'll say, did you get a tag? Forgot about that. I didn't get a tag. And, but with their technology, that's fine. If we know that it's a white Chevrolet truck with a a sticker in the back glass, we can search off that and we can narrow that thing. Now, there's going to be a lot of white pickups that go through cameras, but we can start to narrow things down and kind of hone in on the vehicle that we're looking for. But that particular one, we knew that we were looking for a white Saturn. That's what we knew. That's what they told us. That vehicle showed up on Manchester's Flock cameras. Once we were able to kind of narrow that down, now we had to do a lot of legwork first to narrow down exactly what we were looking for. But once we did, and we got with Manchester and went like, hey, can you check? There it is. Your suspect's in Coffee County. So that would have been a lot simpler process had we already been on board with it. But so we've started trying to utilize other places that have it when we can. But it's so much faster, so much more efficient if we have access to it, and if we have our own cameras. We don't have to wait until somebody goes into another community and hope that they get on a camera in that area. I was thinking about a situation when I was thinking about Flock. We had it's been a little over a year ago, where I wish we would have had this. Fortunately, everything turned out well, but we were notified about a lady that had made a school threat online, that she was going to shoot up a school that day. And that was pretty much it. We did know that the location of this individual was not in Bedford County, but along the border. And now, of course, we went through, we put all of our schools on secure to, try to keep anybody from being able to come in and out of the schools. But we knew who we were looking for. We knew the vehicle description. And I think to myself, if we would have had a Flock camera on 41A North near Community School in that area, as soon as that vehicle would come past that camera, we'd be notified. That vehicle is in your area, and this is where that vehicle's at. And we would just be able to respond and react so much faster. Now, in that case, they were able to locate her, and, everything ended up okay. But, these are just the things that we've got lucky. But it also makes you wonder how much is coming through right up under your nose that you don't know about. The city, and they have told me that it's okay for me to say this, is why I'm saying it, but the city has just recently made 2 arrests on a meetup with underage juveniles. They were tracking both those on Flock cameras because they've signed up, they've got access to it. So there's just so many things, whether it be Amber Alerts, Silver Alerts, crime investigation, crime prevention, that I think this would be useful. And that was really the purpose of tonight, was just to show it to you. Because obviously Flock is a great company, but I've been trying to talk to Will and he won't give it to us for free. So obviously there is funding that's required, but that's why we're here. I want you to see what it is, because this is something that, going forward and, next year's budget, whatever the case may be, I would like to look at. And I'll let Will get into some more of of that part of it too.
Right. Awesome. Well, thank you, Chief Deputy. So just to kind of show the custom strategy that we have, this is the actual map, and this is a complete county lockdown. So just kind of go through it really quickly. Highway 41A north and south, Highway 64 east and west, Highway 231 north and south, Highway 130 west, Highway 82, and Highway 130 east, along with Highway 82 and 269. So, second bullet point there is we have 14 LPRs that give the full county lockdown. 8, however, is the minimum to really cover all main entries into the county. So I have plenty of agencies that do multiple phases. So if that's something you're more comfortable with doing, I know funding is obviously part of the equation. 8 is the minimum to do main entries, but 14 would be the full county lockdown. But this is our game plan and strategy that we've built. So overall, the solution for Bedford County near real time. This is a force multiplier. And so you can think of it this way. Each camera is like hiring a deputy for $3,000 a year. There's no, that works 24/7. There's no sick days, no benefits. Make sure I get all the points here. And it's alerting the sheriff's office of who's coming in and out of the county. So that's all NCIC alerts, Amber alerts, Silver alerts, etc. So the final thing is the ask. What we ask of the commission and what we're asking is we don't know what we don't know. Please, help the sheriff's office to get better visibility, to have that insight that they currently don't have, which, Flock gives Bedford County Sheriff's Office that insight that right now is just not there or made more difficult, and, closing cases faster to be able to do this. The second thing is multiply Bedford County Sheriff's Office. I know, I've talked with Chief Deputy, and it would be a great thing if they could add more deputies to the force, but that's really expensive. 6 figures plus expensive. And so basically adding these cameras would multiply the Sheriff's Office force at a fraction of having to find, hire, and also retain more deputies. The other thing is just, we just ask that you prioritize the safety of Bedford County as the number one thing for your citizens, and give them the tools that's going to allow the sheriff's office to do what they do best, keep the community safe. And then really the last thing is, if we just started with the minimum of 8 to hit all main entry points, this is only $24,000 a year. So I don't want to speak out of terms, but I know, Chief Deputy and I talked about the cost of hiring one new deputy that's going to take sick time. It's going to, not work 24/7, is well over $100,000. So this is $24,000, and you get this insight with all these entry points coming into the county. So we just ask that you would consider funding for this, and that way we could do everything that we've covered today. And then final portion, just wanted to, my clicker's not working, but open it up to any kind of questions, anything that I could help answer.
Nakia has been working with my office. We're trying to figure out a path that would potentially allow us to at least get the first year in place for this, which obviously it would have to come through some kind of a budget amendment unless we could find within their budget structure the path, which is very limited. So we'll, Finance Committee, look at this once Finance Department and myself can figure out a path that we'll put forward for y'all's consideration. Would potentially allow us to get started with this. And I think I know this.
Yeah.
Like year to year, it could be 1 year contracts that renew.
That's correct. Yeah, you can start with the 12 month.
Now, obviously, it wouldn't make sense to not go into it thinking that we were going to find a path, but there may be an option through capital projects that would let us do the first year. A reoccurring expense really would need to then roll to budget to be the ideal solution going forward. But the first time, because of the install, the actual acquiring the cameras and what have you, would probably meet the criteria for it to be one time out of there. So we're taking a look at that because we have some other challenges in front of us, obviously, with capital projects. And so if we get an opportunity to make an enhancement there that would allow us to do that, we certainly would bring that forward to the commission, asking them to consider.
And one thing, I don't know if we made it clear on that, but the 8 cameras, that would be our minimum buy-in to get access to the 90,000 cameras. So the 14 would lock Bedford County down as far as all of the pathways in and out of the county. But the 8, that would be, correct me if I'm wrong, Will, that's what it would require for us to gain access to the entire system.
Yeah, that is correct. And that's a dollar amount we're trying to see if we can find.
Yeah, so it's you can do year to year. It's a lease, so the equipment's leased itself. The only time do we need to put poles up, can we attach it to pre-existing poles? That's the only time it's different. Other than that, it's $3,000 per camera per year. So any act of God that damages the cameras, we replace. If the state comes out with lime green plates next and it throws them for a loop, we will replace those at no cost because that's what we did for the blue plates. All maintenance, software updates, everything. It's unlimited users. If you don't have them, you can have that on the go with you.
Commissioner Hill.
If there's an issue, what's the turnaround time? I know you could probably do it sitting in California. What's your turnaround?
Turnaround time for like if a camera goes down. It's generally speaking, it's pretty quick. It usually just kind of like putting the pole up is what it comes down to. I would say I've usually seen it's like a week around just to leave whoever's closest. They have plenty of materials. They'll go out there and install it. So that's what I've seen. But I've actually only seen like probably 2 or 3 that have had to have that. So.
One thing I want to make sure we're clear on. We're not going to be taking pictures of people's expired tags, running stop signs, and sending them a letter in the mail telling them to stay speed limits and all that.
If that was even an option, I want him to cut it off. And that's one thing I wanted to talk about was that this is not traffic enforcement. We're looking for the things like he was talking about, and in fact, their cameras won't even do that. I think he mentioned that because that's one thing. That's one of the first things I asked him. Because I don't want people thinking that, hey, Bedford County's out here trying to make money off speeding tickets. I wouldn't want access to that. I don't want to do that. And as he said, the boss man, they won't even allow that. So that's not what we're going to do.
That's the reason I wanted you to make that clear is because we're talking about putting speed limits on the roads now, and and now we're going to put up cameras. Bad time.
Yeah, just to go further on that, out of respect to them, there was a sheriff in Tennessee that asked me if we could do it, and that's what prompted the question. And so he said, "Can we pick up speeding on this?" And I asked our CEO, and he said, "No, I will never do it. PR on that would be terrible." And I was very happy to hear that because just be careful if you drive in West Tennessee. There are plenty of those that do it, but we don't, and I've confirmed that.
And I think the THP has readers on their cars, but it's a different system, and they may very well be doing the things that you're referring to, but this does not
correct. Yes,
affect or reflect necessarily what individual counties would be doing with such a system as this.
Yeah, and this is a different system. And of course, one thing I really like about this system versus the others is, they're using LPRs, which is the license plate reader. Flock's system with that fingerprint system, you can search by just vehicle characteristics, which is a game changer. And that's why I think this particular system really is a game changer. Because it is rare that I go to a call or any of our guys go to a call and somebody says it was this vehicle, license plate number, whatever. That's not what we get. So that's, their system is different.
Any further questions?
No question. I just have a comment. Mr. Pepper, thank you for your presentation. Very thorough. It seems that the system's extremely integrated with NCIC, other agencies across the state. I personally feel that we would benefit from this technology for now. From what I see and hear, I believe technology is definitely something that helps us as a society, and I trust that your system would be a benefit for our county. My only challenge will be, of course, from a budgetary standpoint, is to the sheriff's office to make sure that we're, I trust that you all will take a look at your budget thoroughly and make the best decisions for that budget. It seems to me that it's $24,000 for the peace of mind and also for the security that it would bring the citizens of this county. Again, I'll state that I am a fan of this system so far from what I've seen tonight. I just challenge us to make sure that we're smart with our money and our budget.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Any other questions?
Hearing none, thank you.
All right. Thank you all.
So at this point in the meeting, we need a motion to approve the reports as presented.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any other reports? Hearing none. Old business was a letter of support for the corrections in-service training. I think that was enclosed in the packet. Correct. That everybody, and Mayor, help me, I don't think there is a bill at the present time.
I'm not seeing it come up yet. Of course,
I
you know, they're
haven't
just now
either.
getting into session, but
They're just now getting into session, but they did give us a letter in support. And what this is your fire department and EMS as well. So they have to do 40 hours in-service training, and then the state gives them a supplement check in the amount, I think it's $800 or so. And then that's deposited in the county, and then the county gives them that check. And we're just asking that we in that process too. So I don't know how we want to get this signed, maybe the next commission meeting or something, have one letter.
we're happy to circulate the letter if that winds up being the wishes or the intent.
Yeah,
we will make a correction and call it the Public Safety Committee instead of just law enforcement. Now, we're still new into our new title for this committee, but I think it's more reflective of the general process in that it is Public Safety Committee.
Yeah.
So we can do that. I don't know if the commission would want to vote on that or if the commission would just feel comfortable. I mean, it doesn't bind anything. I think it's a letter of support for the cause. We'll put it on the agenda.
Whatever
The documentation.
that we're in.
Yeah, so
we're sending it to the commission, and then if I think it's a good thing to do. I mean, it's state funded. Now, whether or not they can come up with money to do so is on them. It doesn't cost the county.
Mayor, just a quick question. So are there other counties doing the same thing for our corrections officers?
Now, I think so, but I'm not the genesis of this. I believe Commissioner Thomas, but
Yeah, I don't have it in writing, but I know that there's been talk of whether or not the counties are sending a letter of support. Talked to Pat Morris about it, and it's not the first time this has come up. It got turned down last year. That's correct.
Thank you, Commissioner.
but I don't know a bill number yet. Have you seen anything? Oh, okay.
I've looked, but I hadn't been able to track it down.
It may not
Sometimes
pop
can-
for on the front end. So, I mean, I think if there's interest in it, you should send it on to the commission and we'll get the document in place and then we'll just hold it if that's acceptable till we identify the bill to tag it to so it will track correctly. But whatever the group wants is okay. That's fair.
But I have a motion from Commissioner Pinson to send it to the commission with our
Commission.
support. Letter of support. Have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Any new business? Announcements? Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
We're gonna have to order something.
We'll call the Courthouse and Property Committee to order. We have, we're going to start with prayer. Commissioner Thomas.
Dear Lord God, thank you for this day, the blessings you have given us, Lord. Thank you for the opportunity to meet together peaceably. Lord, I pray that our decisions will be made in accordance to your will, Lord. I pray that no matter what, though, our faith is always found in you and your Son, Jesus Christ. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Righty. We are all present. And so our first order of business is minutes approval from December 17th, 2024. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? All righty. Didn't see it on here, but I didn't see any public comments. Anybody want to speak? Okay, thank you. All righty. On to our codes report.
Good evening. Anybody have any questions about what you have? So since our last meeting, we discussed our new software throughout December. We had some people we picked as guinea pigs to help us with that. And, we've since last week I posted it live on the website, the link, so you can now make online permit applications for your residential homes, which is a big help. City schools tax can also do that online, so anyone that needs to go get a permit in the city can just go online for the schools tax portion of it. Hopefully make things easier. We're still making adjustments, still new software, so as we go along, we make adjustments as we learn new things about the software. But it really helps with our procedures and keeps us in a steady workflow.
Yeah, I know I've asked this before, and I just want to just clarify, because we see a significant difference between the school facility tax from 23 to 24. And just to correct me, is that because of they have that full year to pay and there's just some delays in getting that in?
Both that and it does not fall in line with permitting. It's not, every permit does not come with schools tax. And then you also have permits that are issued in the city that are tied to our schools tax. So depends on what type of development's happening in the city. That can either spike or go down. We're pretty steady now. Over the past couple of years, we've worked to make sure everybody's up to date on their payments. So that's also been something that's kind of had an ebb and flow with our collections. But yeah, it varies based on if people are deferring it, if there's more houses being built, if there's bigger houses being built. So we've kind of had a trend for really large square footage homes. And it's kind of backing off a little bit. They're not quite as big as they once were. There for a few years, we had some really large heated and cooled square footage homes, and that impacts it as well.
Any other questions? Thank you so much. All righty. We have our planning and zoning report. I think you have that in your packet. And I know he's continuing to work on our long-term plan, and I think he's had some actions starting to break loose there.
We're trying. That's been company bid service.
Any other questions there? All right. IT report.
So I emailed you a copy of my report today. It's a PDF. Pull it up on your cell phone or print it off. Basically, it's just an update. And if you have any questions about those, feel free to call me. They're all on schedule. I updated the status of those today for you. I can tell you that the courthouse exterior lighting project, that the materials have been delivered. The owner's rep is working through the scheduling for the electrical upgrades of the building, which will have to take place in order to mount those permanently and affix those here for the building. We have some security cameras being installed at the EMA and access controls. That project's been scheduled. We've got some jail systems that are being upgraded. Purchase order has been cut for that as well. We're working with installers on that project also, updating some equipment that's getting older, needing replacement. We have also been interviewing for a position in our department. We had an employee that left us after a few years. He was great. He really contributed a lot to our program. And I'd like to take the time to just recognize AJ Vanderpool, great asset to us. He's a veteran, and he's taken a position with the Board of Education. He's going to be the Gear Up coordinator for Cascade Middle School. So we're proud of him. Really, really excited. He accomplished some education objectives while he was here, and he was able to move forward, pursue his dream to be a teacher. But mainly, I think he really wants to coach football, and I think he's going to be an asset to Cascade Middle School. So we just want to say thank you to him, and we'll have an employee hired by the end.
I know AJ, and he was a definite asset, but I think he's living out his dream now. So, thank you for that report. Any questions for IT? Thank you, John.
Thank you.
All right, fire department.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have anything. And if I may, I'd like to take an opportunity just to make a public safety announcement. Is during these cold, extreme temperatures that we're experiencing, we just want people to be careful. And I see out there, and people are doing the best they can do, but just be careful with these portable heaters, wood burning stoves, whatever method, heating pads. We've seen people that open up their ovens and using them as heaters. They're doing what they can to survive, but we've got to be careful. It's kind of sad that in the state of Tennessee, that's death rate across the United States, and that's sad. When we'll give out free smoke detectors. All you have to do is call the fire department, your local fire department, anywhere in the state of Tennessee, or call the fire marshal's office. They'll schedule us, the fire department, or the Red Cross to come out and install these. And it's very important because that's a cheap life insurance policy. It's free and it can save your life. So just, no extension cords on these portable heaters, and people, I understand they want to keep their pets warm, farm animals, horses, their water troughs in their stalls. They try to keep them from freezing and stuff, and they go to extreme measures to do that. But we've got to be careful and vigilant of how we do this. And if they got any questions, I'm more than happy to call the fire department. I know, sheriff's department, EMA, all of us see it. EMS, we all see it. So.
And what is your non-emergency line?
Our non-emergency is 931-684-9223. And nothing else, call 911, and ask them, we want to get to you before you have a problem. Got any questions, I don't want to go into a long thing, about it, but we've done radio shows and it's all over Facebook, and not everybody gets social media. I understand that is too, but be careful,
Thank you for that. I think that's absolutely vital information, and thank you for that and your report. All righty. E911 report you have enclosed. Media GIS.
Not much to add to the written report, other than, of course, when we had our snow event, I was, trying to keep the word out there about closures and things like that. And we were able to set up a sort of a special weather page on the website that existed during that event. And other than that, the report's kind of self-explanatory. Any questions?
Thank you. All righty, county building project.
Yeah, I think you should have had it, the general information in your report. As you can see, there's a lot of things going on. I'll just draw attention to probably the two things that we need to make sure that we keep our eye on, and we're working on this now, and we'll give you more information when we have it. But we're studying right now to figure out what the impact of adding morgue services within the surplus building, what that would take and involve and entail. And so architects are working on that now, trying to figure out how to deal with it and what it would look like to value engineer it into something we could do. So that'll certainly be come back for conversation and would ultimately
wind up to the commission if there has to be a correction or a change there. Same thing with juvenile facility. Apparently the state of Tennessee since 2021 has changed the rules again on the standards. So we're looking again at how that is affected. The architects, the engineers are involved reviewing that. And again, to value engineer it to see what that impact would look. Hopefully by next month, we'll have an idea of what we're dealing with there. So we'll keep you up to date on that whenever we get to that point as well.
Yep.
On the tree or the grounds, we're getting quotes because the price was fluctuating. We weren't sure exactly what it's going to cost. We still don't know exactly that number, but it become apparent after having a couple of different, what do they call them? Yeah, come and look at it. They all had different views of what they think would be good or to do or whatever. And one of them raised the flag that they were concerned that that tree in their center of it might be hollow, and that could cause another problem if you start doing something with it, or how much do you want to spend if it couldn't be saved. I didn't know, but there is a master of the master of the masters in this. The guy happened to be, I think, in the Huntsville market, and they come in and assess the tree and actually figure out if the center is okay and what have you. And they don't do the work. They simply write, quote, a prescription of what ideally it would take. So we're just getting that information. It dropped in my email since we've been up here. So we'll get it printed out so you know more about it. But it's certainly phases that we could pick to do that. I know he did say that he's concerned that the dead wood in the top of the big tree was going to need to be really removed pretty quick. He's concerned that something could fall. So we'll get on that part right away. But I'll read through and see what all he said. But it appears that the tree is salvageable, I believe. Of course, it's going to
tell us once upon a time how old that was. I was curious.
Yeah, I don't know. His position is it was certainly, if it wasn't there, it was probably at least planted when in the 30s, whenever when they reworked it. It's possible that it was there before. I don't understand all that stuff, but they said that there can be some deception of time when you've been deprived of water and asphalt have been put up and, all these things. So in other words, the tree may not have grown as much as it would have grown. So to look at it and say, basically, that's a 200-year-old tree, if it had just been out in the forest unimpeded, it's a different assessment than roads being paved, concrete being put. He felt sure it was at least as old as the courthouse being redone, probably some older than that. But that's the last of the older trees, obviously, that are here on the grounds. The magnolias and stuff in general are healthy. Doesn't think that the Bradford pear is a proper tree. There are a lot of problems with splitting and tearing up stuff. Anyway, everybody's got one, knows it. And then the other one has got quite a bit of disease in it. That's over in the corner. His recommendation, I think, is probably that it'd be just as well to remove it. But the magnolias look correct, and they need some attention, but they're not critical. And then, like I said, the main thing was, can we salvage that main tree? And I think he's got a path for us to look at. We just figure out from there what it costs them.
Well, in this plan, if there is a removal of trees, will there be also a process of maybe replanting some?
Yeah, I think that's something that, again, would take input from the committee or the group or the commission, however you would want to say that, as to what type tree would you want to put back there? Would it be more appropriate to try to gain some grass itself? Because now some of these, where the tree is, no grass grow around it either. So, but we'll look at that certainly when the time, when we get a little bit further with it. And so,
absolutely.
I just got it. But originally they were concerned that the center was hollow, which I don't do this for a living. But they were talking about one of the teams that come out originally was concerned that if you start cutting and you throw the balance off of that tree, if the center is hollow, then you could cause the tree to fall. And it makes sense. Somebody says it like that, but just cut a few limbs off. I thought it'd make the tree stand better, but maybe not if you had some other problems. So that was one of the big reasons why it was appropriate to bring this guy in and let him write what needs to be done. He's not the one doing the work. That's probably the fairest way for us to get a value of what it's going to cost to do the phases if we go forward from there. Okay, thank you.
I did have.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so apparently we had excess money left over from where we did Cartwright Elementary. And apparently that could be spent on whatever projects that were deemed necessary.
Okay.
I noticed in last month's project list we had, it said the sports field lighting is being engineered for multiple schools and expected to start the bid process at 15/25, which was last week.
Okay.
But at the school board meeting, it appeared all that's done and they're starting work. Is that a true statement?
I don't know, but you're asking for the timeline. Is that what?
Yeah, because when I saw it last month, I thought,
She's
well,
talking
first of all,
about
I
the
didn't know
lighting
what it
project.
was because we've not had any discussion of that here. And then it's finalized that we're going to use the excess funding from Cartwright to put in lighting for the school. The note here said the bidding process would be on 1/15/25. So all of that's already in place and they're starting to work in January.
Yeah, the contracts were signed with Musco, the first week of January, 2,460,000, I believe was the number. That's for all of Chevrolet High School, soccer, baseball, softball, football, Cascade, football, baseball, softball, and soccer, Liberty, and community.
Well, I'm certainly not arguing that we needed the lights or whatever, but I think it's a courtesy. It would have been nice if the commission had known that we had these excess funds and that they were going to be spent. Not that I have a problem with some of this, but the transparency piece appeared to be missing to me with this, and I had an issue with that, as did some people who questioned me.
So we
about
put it
where
out
the
for
money
bid.
come from.
Yeah, we put it out for bid. We had 2 bids. There were 2 factors. One of them was right at $3 million. We had a set amount of money that we had to stay in, and that there was a timeline that the money had to be spent. So
Okay,
those
and
were
then-
the 2 companies that bid on it.
And then on the savings that we had, roughly the 2.4, I know we talked about contingency before, we didn't realize we had it. So there was an escalation clause in that 43 million that we borrowed that was not used. It was a little over $1.8 million.
That
were
would be
part
a,
of the
that'd be a
2.4
finance question. I'm not involved in that.
Well, you had been reporting.
No, it's usually 1.5% to 2% of the project.
Mr. Mayor, if you could, I know you may not have that answer, but could we get that answer for
On what specifically the question?
contingency?
Oh, on the contingency, we can ask, finance committee, we'll ask about it. Can you somebody make me a note to remind them, to ask for that? Now, on the side of, and again, if you certainly can, revisit that or whatever, but when the money was borrowed, there was funds that were on the school side, so to speak, or were designated for school project. All that has been coming through the process on the school board side. And so the expectation that their decisions would then come back to the commission for you to validate before on funds that were already appropriated for the education side was not, I mean, you can call it transparency, and I don't mind if the commission wants to vote to say that all the decisions of the school board come back to them for final before you act on them. That's certainly
No,
something
the
that you could do.
point was the commission borrowed $43 million.
Correct.
So we were the ones who funded that. We were the ones that stepped up to the plate and borrowed the money.
Correct.
So whatever that money is going to be used for, I think it would only be fair for the commission to at least be in the loop. And maybe I'm looking at it wrong.
Yeah, and I don't know if it, and I guess, because I wasn't aware of it. And so I think for me as well, I think I might at least just be a heads up, maybe in the December meeting, that, hey, there was excess. We're going to be utilizing that funds over in something else. It's more of, I guess, more of notification, not necessarily
I think
approval.
I think it's been in the reports along the journey of how the money was evolving or where the opportunities to address
Talking about
other
to
needs.
the Financial Management Committee.
No, you're getting the reports.
Well, that
And
was my
some
point.
of that.
That particular item did not show up in the report until December. Because I
Okay.
went back and looked at it.
Okay.
And it had a bid date of 1/15.
Okay.
Then I hear when I listen to the school board meeting, it's all a done deal.
So-
So that's where I had a little bit of concern.
Right.
Or a little heartburn with that because first of all, didn't know we had that much in an overage. Then after I had checked on a few things, then there was a little blurb that said we could use that for something else. And then we didn't hear anything about it. And then I hear you we're moving on. That was my only concern with that. You know, where did the money come from? How did we get the overage? Because apparently the school board had requested what the final cost was of Cartwright. And I think they received that last month. But as a commission, we didn't. Commission is the one who funded it. So in my mind, we should have also been included in the loop to know that there was $43 million that we borrowed, we spent this much, we had this much over, and the school board is going to use the other for this project, which is okay. But again, for me, that I think we need to follow that timeline.
I think, I don't, again, whatever process is decided on by the commission is fine with me. I know when you and I both served on the school board, I don't believe our actions of the school board were going back and forth to the commission for validation. Yeah, whenever you borrowed the money and you established that it would go for education purposes and those things, correct? So, yeah, so I'd recommend that. Yeah, I got you. And I think for people that are throwing out, transparency things, make a motion that all those actions from the school board come back to the commission before they're acted on would be the clearest and cleanest way to make sure that your intentions are put forward so that nobody feels like somebody didn't tell somebody something. I think that's
would that go through rules?
But that's fine. Make a motion to send it to rules. I mean, however you would want to do it, asking them for all of the commission before they're acted on. I think you certainly could do it.
It's a conversation piece.
Or,
of rules.
at least the monies that we are borrowing for school projects.
Correct.
That are, that kind of money, and I think maybe we need to
Come back to the commission for
come back,
a vote. Sure.
If the commission is the one who voted it, now what they're doing with their funding, that doesn't affect
Agreed.
us. And if we, but if in this case we borrowed $43 million, well, what did we actually spend on Cartwright? Well, we don't know. Well, now we're going to do lighting and leftover money. Well, I didn't know that. How did you know that? And as commissioners, we get those questions, even though we're
Sure.
not on the school board, and people watch them. More people are watching these videos. I don't like to look at somebody and go, I don't know anything about that. Correct. I
Understood.
don't think that's fair to us.
Right. And again, I think the simple, straightforward.
And we did see that, but then the final dollars, we never got.
Again, I think the clearest way to go at your situation is to make a motion to send it, that it all come back to the commission for final validation or vote before you spend those funds on the school side.
I'll talk to the FFC about running that through.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter to me which one you run it through. I'm just saying that would be the most correct way to address your issue of having the school board's actions come back to the commission.
Are you comfortable with just having a discussion with Rules Chairman?
Yeah, I will talk to them.
Okay. Would you like for us to put it on the agenda for next month?
Not yet.
Okay. All right.
Okay, that's all our reports. I need a motion to approve reports.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor? All righty. No other reports? Any old business? Any new business? Any announcements? Motion to adjourn.